Well, good morning, everyone. My name is Rich Keevey, the director of the Policy Research Institute for the region here at the Woodrow Wilson School. And we'd like to welcome you to today's presentation on sustainability and the Obama stimulus agenda, engaging and connecting with government. And of course, Pryor is very pleased to participate jointly with the Earth Institute at Columbia University, who we're jointly sponsoring this program today. And I should note that we have a big group, at least 30 or so students, who came down this morning on the bus that left about 5:50 from New York City to join us here this morning. So thanks for coming. I'm not sure how many Woodrow Wilson students we have. They're probably hiding down in the overflow rooms. Just a couple logistical comments. One, we're going to have no breaks. So whenever you need to leave for a bathroom break, feel free to go. It's too much of a problem, we found out, with everybody going at the same time, breaking. So, and we're only going to be here till about 12:30 or 12:45. When we come to the question and answer session, we have two microphones up front. So if you would just come up there and ask your question, form a line if appropriate, and the panelists and the speakers will respond accordingly. The environmental movement has come a long way since its beginning. From Rachel Carson's seminal book, Silent Springs, published in 1962, to the first Earth Day in April 1970, to the passage of the Safe Drinking Act of 1974. The nation and the world finally recognized the lasting impact that abuse of the environment has on current and future generations. Most recently, Tom Berry, critically acclaimed book, The Great Work, Our Way into the Future, suggests that the future can exist only if humans understand how to commune with the natural world rather than exploit the natural world. Already, argued Barry, the planet is so damaged and the future so challenged that the terms of survival will be severe beyond anything that we have known in the past unless we rise to the challenge of cherishing the earth and doing something substantive to sustain it. Like Barry, we all now realize that it is not sufficient for us to remediate damages already inflicted, but we need to create and implement policies to protect the planet and its inhabitants, both now and going forward. As defined by the UN World Commission on Environment and Development, sustainable development is the development that meets the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet its own needs. The Environmental Protection Agency calls sustainability the next level of environmental protection. It draws on advances in science and technology, the application of diverse governmental regulations and policies, and the promotion of green business practices. Nationally, colleges and universities are responding to the upsurge of students interested in the emerging field of sustainability by offering new programs to meet this growing demand. The federal government has offered incentives to both the public and private sectors to think creatively and to develop environmentally friendly practices. President Obama's stimulus package includes more than $71 billion to be invested in green initiatives, from energy conservation and efficiency to mass transit and environmental cleanup projects, along with $20 billion in green tax incentives. It includes hundreds of millions of dollars to prepare workers for careers in energy efficiency and renewable energy field. As suggested by our forum today, the implementation of these new federal initiatives will fall largely on local and regional governments. For example, Pennsylvania has been awarded $253 million to fund a weatherization plan that will reduce energy significantly. The U.S. Department of Energy has approved over $71 million of funding to support energy efficiency and renewable energy projects in New Jersey, and another $118 million for weatherization projects. New York has recently received hundreds of millions of dollars in economic recovery funds to improve water quality, create projects, and a lot more dollars for transportation, education, and other energy-related projects. The good news is that there is finally funding for at least some of the projects in the region's wish list, along with a commitment to create a sustainable environment. But the big issue for local and state governments is how to use the funding effectively to achieve its most beneficial results. What projects will result in the best use of money over the long run? What initiatives will make the most impact? In other words, how do we get the most bang for the buck? Well, the notable academics, government officials, and policy practitioners we have gathered here today will address past and current policies, analyze their successes and failures, and more importantly, make recommendations to craft more efficient and effective initiatives going forward. The stimulus package offers us the opportunity to develop long-term policies that will achieve the goals of protecting the environment, creating jobs, and forming partnerships between the public and private sector that will lead to healthier and more financially robust communities for everyone. How and whether we rise to that challenge has yet to be determined. Before I introduce our keynote speaker, I would like to introduce Steve Cohen, who is, if you will, my partner in crime in organizing this forum today. You have his detailed bio in your program, but let me tell you that Steve is the executive director of the Earth Institute at Columbia University and also the director of their MPA program in environmental science and policy at its International School of Public Affairs. Prior to coming to Columbia years ago, Steve was a policy analyst and subsequently a consultant to EPA. And if you are a New Yorker, you have probably read already his blog on the New York Observer Green page. So please welcome Steve Cohen.
Thanks, Richard. On behalf of Columbia University and our Earth Institute, I want to join Richard in welcoming you to this important discussion. I can't think of any issue that's more important than sustainable cities and connecting our economic revival to the emerging green economy. Now, with this almost $800 billion stimulus package slowly starting to kick in, we see the Great Recession also slowly starting to recede. And the good news is that in a recent study of green jobs by the Pew Charitable Trust, it indicates that the administration's focus on sustainability is sound economics. And the government may very well be throwing its money in the right place this time. According to the Pew study, and I quote, the number of jobs in America's emerging clean energy economy grew nearly 2.5 times faster than the overall economy between 1998 and 2007. Notice they stopped before the recent downturn. Pew found that jobs in the clean energy economy grew at a national rate of 9.1%, while traditional jobs during that period grew at about 3.7%. So what we're starting to see, and I think this discussion today will touch on some of that, is increasing signs of the mainstreaming of green management and moving it out of public relations and greenwashing into the world of hard-headed, realistic public and private management practice. We're starting to see the notion of sustainability added to the ideas of effective management done by the best organizations. Organizations and politics have trouble absorbing long-term considerations into their operations, and many of the best managed companies and cities have struggled with that, but are slowly beginning to understand why it's important. Just as we saw best accounting practices and performance measurement systems enter into the management lexicon over the last 25 years, I think we're going to start to see the same thing happen now with some sustainability practices. And it comes down to, I think, the issue of waste and the relationship of waste and efficiency to good management. Why wouldn't an organization strive to maximize the productive benefits of all the resources they have access to? What's the argument for wasting energy? It's a good thing to do. It saves money. Obviously, it's an idiotic notion. Energy efficiency, efficient use of resources, cost-effective recycling activities all can save companies money Believe me, Walmart wouldn't be making such a big deal out of it if it was pure altruism. It has to do with management and with money. If there's a technology that allows you to do this, why wouldn't you use it? Now, one of the primary issues here, and I think the panels will touch on it a little bit today, is competing capital investments. How do you get organizations, governments, and the private sector to invest in the kinds of things that build sustainability? That capital has to compete with other functions that might provide a more short-term financial gain. And I think that what we've learned, hopefully, over the last 12 months is that the mania for short-term financial gain is both the enemy of sustainability and also the enemy of a sound economy. Now, can we learn from our mistakes and build sustainable economies and communities? That's really the issue here. Today we have a conference focused on rebuilding our economy and our cities with a focus on building sustainable cities and companies, maybe even universities. I don't know if Columbia and Princeton are ready, but they're making noises in this direction too. So on behalf of Columbia University and the Earth Institute, I want to join Richard and his colleagues and thank you for organizing and hosting this conference, and also my colleague Esther Fuchs for her work to ensure the success of today's program. I'm looking forward to a terrific set of discussions. Richard.